Hey everyone, in this video I want to talk a little bit about my Olympic lifts and some of the different focuses that I've been having with that, and also with some of the kind of rededication to accessory type work and some of the goals that I have related to those on different workout days. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So if you look in the back, if you look at the last video that I had and some of the background of the snatches that I did, you'll see one of a friend that I have down here, one of my workout friends that I see occasionally at the gym I go to, and he does Olympic weightlifting. So he has given me different tips throughout the different times that I've been there because I'm not very skilled at the lifts. And ironically, we look different as far as body types, but we're actually pretty similar as far as strength goes. He has a lot better squat than I do, but I think I have a stronger bench and just about the same deadlift, if not a stronger deadlift. So relatively speaking, we are pretty similar as far as strength goes, which is kind of neat that I'm as strong as someone like him, because I've seen him clean and jerk like 300, or he jerked 315 pounds, so I assume that he could probably do about the same. Basically, he's a lot stronger at the Olympic lifts than I am, but he's giving me different tips while I'm in there to kind of make my Olympic lifts more of a quad dominated lift and not a posterior dominated lift. And that's something that when I started doing any of the Olympic lifts, I essentially just depended entirely on my posterior chain, because if you follow any of my stuff, you probably very well know that my deadlift is a lot higher than my squat. So I am well developed as far as my posterior chain goes, so I can the tendency for me is to kind of use that and depend on that a lot more, and it's not really the most efficient type of stance to use. But with my Olympic lifts, especially this week, something I've been playing around with is sitting down in that stance, and there's different cues of that. So the one cue or the one focus that he's given me is kind of getting more upright, and it's hard to describe unless I'm showing it, but I'll try my best with it. Essentially, you have the bar past your knees, and you're pushing your knees out a little bit, but you're pushing your butt back, and you're kind of not so much more upright, but you're kind of not, like the tendency for me is to be way bent over with that. But essentially, once you get the bar up and past your knees, I'm thinking less about immediately extending my hips and extending my legs, and more about getting my torso straight, and then like kind of scooping under my legs and using that bent leg portion to kind of drive up from there. It's kind of hard to describe, but if you watch a lot of the actually good Olympic weightlifters, you'll notice that they do that a lot more. So essentially they get more upright and then they sort of drive more up. With me, it was more kind of just a jerk backwards, to kind of just using all my back and probably hamstrings and butt more so than what I ever should be. That's not to say that I don't use those. It's a very good strength of mine, so it's something that will play a factor in it, but it's something I need to use my quads more, especially since because those lifts are a quad dominated lift with those. But thankfully that's something that's been feeling a lot better, and one of the nice side effects of improving slightly, obviously I still have a long way to go as far as my form goes. It's not like I'm going to radically change anything and be like going Olympic levels anytime really ever, but I'm not going to be getting super efficient at these lifts for a while. It's going to take a lot of practice to do those, and that's kind of a fun challenge to have. But one of the effects that I've noticed pretty immediately when doing them is that I don't jump forward as much, and that when the movement feels smoother, I tend to be like a smaller jump, and it tends to be straight up and straight down with that. And when I am moving forward or back a little bit when I jump, it does throw off my balance with the bar, so I can kind of use that as a cue. And it's kind of an interesting thing because it's a similar cue I've been using for when I clean or power clean, and the same with snatches, and it's pretty similar. You're just set up a little bit differently, so it's something that I've been working on with that. And it's something that I continue to, whenever he's there, to kind of get tips with him about that. So hopefully I can continue to improve at the actual skill of the lifts, and I'm not going to worry so much about trying to set new PRs with those lifts, but to just set new form PRs, if that makes any sense. So I'm trying to get my mechanics to be as efficient as possible, because if you at least you looked at my last clean and jerks when I did the PR with that, even the PR or in the weights leading up to that, my form wasn't that efficient. So if I just simply get more efficient form, I'll be able to do the same weights as those videos, just a lot faster and a lot better looking. So I'm more worried about doing that, and perhaps doing previous weights for a double instead of just a single if I feel like it. But essentially just getting more efficient at those lifts because not only will that allow me to stay healthier with them and allow me to do more reps and different things like that, but it'll allow me to eventually do more weight with those and get more out of the lifts and not just be flinging my body around in some uncontrolled way that I kind of have a tendency to do because I'm not very good at the lifts right now. But yeah, that's really about it as far as the Olympic lifts go. So I'll move on to the second part. So if you have any thoughts about that kind of shenanigans, let me know in the comments and down below. The second part of this video is talking about the accessories and kind of my refocusing of that sort of thing. So essentially now, what I would try to always do with accessories is the lateral raises, the curls, the tricep extensions, all of that sort of stuff that I really don't enjoy doing just because it's rather boring. And one of the things that is allowing me to kind of get through them a lot more is just really quick rest periods. I just kind of pick a weight that feels good for that day, that I can do about 10 reps, and if it's easy I do a couple extra, if it's hard I do a couple less. But I essentially will just keep doing as many sets as I can at a certain rep range. So like for I did hammer curls the other day, or lateral raises, I was doing 10 reps with a certain weight. Once I failed to do 10 reps, then I just stopped and went to the next thing. But I just went quickly in between sets, so I'm not taking a lot of time in between because I'm not worried if I can do 4 sets of 10 with a certain weight with a lateral raise. I can honestly care less with that. But not only do I want to continue to do that sort of thing and kind of work quickly with those because it allows me to not get bored doing those and motivates me to actually get them done just at all, but I also want to start doing more leg accessories and more upper back accessories as well. And that can rather be, I was planning on doing lever rows of some sort yesterday, but someone was just using the equipment, so I just didn't feel like waiting. So I just did some more kind of Yates rows type things. That's something I want to do a lot because the Yates rows really help my shoulders out, and really any sort of rowing motion tends to have a positive effect on my shoulders. So I want to add those to just about every one of my workouts in some form or another, because it's only going to benefit me to have that just healthier shoulders and that, and just have shoulders that feel better in general when I work out. But I also want to do different sort of leg things. In the last workout that I had, I did hack squats, very, very light. I was expecting my IT band or vastus lateralis or whatever it is to be kind of sore when I was doing it and kind of hurt, and it did. So I didn't want to push the weight too high. I think I just used like 90 pounds, and I just did a bunch of sets of 10 with it. But it hurt, but it wasn't like amazingly painful where I wanted to, where I had to stop. But I want to start doing more things like that because I think that it will allow me to kind of push through that, not only push through the pain a little bit better, but allow me to kind of get blood moving in there on days other than just doing heavy squats, and allow hopefully to that to recover a little bit more and stay looser in between different days, and allow me just to get more work for my legs that isn't just heavy squats or front squats or whatever big lift like that I'm doing. I'm able to do kind of more of the isolation type thing to kind of just get some blood in there, because I'm not worried about the bodybuilding effects so much for any of these accessory movements, but just getting more I guess hypertrophy type stuff in there, but more for the recovery type benefits. And also for quad stuff, it's pretty easy for me to do hack squats or something and target that area, but also hamstrings a little bit more tricky. I don't really want to do lying leg curls because I don't think that has too much of a carryover, and I get rather bored doing those. Kind of the same thing with really any sort of curls. I'm probably the most unique lifter with that. I'm the one guy that doesn't really like doing curls that much. Rather be doing deadlifts or squats or bench or something heavy. But with hamstrings, it's pretty easy for me to get those to work. It was like stiff-legged dumbbell, one-legged. Basically, you just have a stiff leg, you have dumbbells, and you just reach down, you stick your one leg out to the back, and then you stand back up. And those really burn out my legs. And I did those, if you watched the end of my last video, as far as when the workout clips were there, I think about 8 minutes in. Maybe I'm just making up a time. But I did that with a barbell as well, and I kind of like that. And more of doing stuff like that where I'm really trying to stabilize the joint and not really worried about doing a lot of weight. And that helps me to motivate me to do those lifts, because after I do heavy squats or deadlifts or Olympic lifts, I'm not really motivated to go and just go crazy on my accessories. So I'd rather go lightweight and just really focus on the stabilization and the balance and different things like that. When I'm doing the one-legged stiff-leg deadlifts, then it's a lot of balance, which I think is really good to work on. I don't need to worry a ton about my posterior chain because it is a lot further ahead of my quads, but you can always, that stabilization and that balance is always going to be something that's beneficial just for the leg joint in general, at least I think. And it makes it more difficult, so I really can't do as much weight, which helps me to not just get burnt out, especially with my lower back. I notice when I do a lot of hamstring stuffs and I go really heavy that just my lower back gets kind of burnt out more so than my hamstrings, like if I do stiff-legged deadlifts and stuff. So if I really focus on more of just like one-legged stuff and kind of stuff where I have to be more stable, then it allows me to kind of not destroy my body quite as bad. But so this is midweek. I was gonna lift today. It was tentative. I didn't really feel like it, and I was just gonna see how I felt after I got back. But I decided to take a 2-hour nap instead of going. So I'm gonna push and do stuff probably tomorrow afternoon, because once I get back from school, I'll have a whole night to kind of just my Friday night. I can go out and work out. So I'm rather excited to go do that. So when I work out tomorrow, I haven't exactly planned what I'm doing because I hadn't done stuff today, so I kind of have to change different things like that. I do plan on doing squats, so it'll be interesting to see how my squats feel tomorrow after doing the hack squat stuff yesterday. But hopefully they feel a little bit better, at least as good as they did before, and hopefully they can go well. I don't know what reps and stuff I'm going to do with them. I kind of have to figure that out. But that should be fun. Friday nights are always a fun day to work out because I can always have more time to do that. But I wanted to make this video to talk about two little kind of random topics, I guess, Olympic lifts and accessory lifts. Something that's not related to anything directly with the powerlifting stuff that I'm doing, but is something that seems noteworthy enough to at least make a video about. But if you have any thoughts or comments, please leave them down below. And I do want to mention that I probably won't be trying to do a live stream this week of any sort, so not that anyone asked or anything, but it would be something I probably will look into do potentially next week. So it might be something I try to do every other week. It is something that's pretty difficult. It's a big daunting task to try to do every week, at least currently. Might be something over winter break or something where I can do it more. But I kind of have to play around with the setup with that because I do want to have really good audio for that, because I only want the best for y'all. The best audio, the best video, and just the best looking people that you can imagine with that. But anywho, like I said, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.